customer had indicated that it runs rough once it's in gear. Supposedly had recent transmission service or work done, and ever since the transmission was serviced, this issue of rough running has occurred. So right now, just idling, waiting for the high idle to come down. I'll be putting it into gear shortly, and then we're just going to confirm whether or not it misfires or not. Let's say the transmission were responsible for some reason, somehow, putting too much strain on the engine or too much of a load. Let's say a torque converter is locked up when it shouldn't be. That would bring RPM down, yes. That could cause misfires, yes, but it would not only affect one cylinder. At least that's my assumption, the way I understand the way systems work. So we're idling right now. I'm going to put it in reverse. So far so good. Should probably be watching cylinders 1, 2, and 3 as well. Okay, no misfires. Neutral. Secondary air just shut off. You can hear that in terms of the sound of the engine. The droning sound was gone, or is gone now. I've got it in drive right now. Still no misfire. Time for a test drive. Just gonna get out of the parking lot. In all likelihood, there is a ignition coil problem. The 2.7s don't use spark plug wires, they have ignition coils. So far so good. At a stop sign right now, or stop light. Noisy wiper blades. Fuel trims look good, short-term fuel trim. And you'll notice the misfire monitor is enabled or disabled at a certain RPM. It's disabled. Also when decelerating, for instance, when there's fuel shut off. So there's only a specific window when misfire detection or misfire monitoring is actually enabled. It can vary between cars, engines, or manufacturers. Okay, number 5, 3 misfires. I didn't actually feel anything. It's going to accelerate a little harder. Slow down again, come to a stop, accelerate from a stop. I felt a little bit of a misfire and it recognized one. So it's definitely load sensitive, the misfire or whatever is causing it. Just felt it again and it did count up one more time. Seems the higher RPM smoothens things out. Right there, I definitely feel it right there. And you can see the counter going. Yeah, so we're definitely looking at a not a hard fault, because a hard fault will be continuous. Yeah, I definitely feel it right now. I'm going to accelerate a little harder. Yeah, and the harder acceleration, I don't feel it. So it's somewhat throttle sensitive as well, in terms of if I go too hard, it doesn't act up. And it just reset again. So I'm thinking ignition coil. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll swap it just like on the Jetta I did recently. Come on. Just to move it away a bit. We've got 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to swap number 5 and 6, might be easier. Guess I didn't turn them far enough. To disconnect the connector, you lift up on this metal bracket, and then the connector slides off. And then we're going to mark these. Number 6. Number 5 looks like it's been changed before. Check the spark plugs as well. Compare it with number 6. For all you guys complaining about me not moving coolant bottles, what would you do here? Coolant is hot. Can't move it very much. Would you bother disconnecting it at this point, opening up the cooling system? Spark plug gap looks okay. You want to feel for cracks in the ceramic. I feel some kind of roughness here. Number 6 gap looks good. Feels pretty smooth. I'll put the plugs back in the same location. Okay, number 5 coil is going to go into number 6 slot. Number 6 is going to go into number 5 slot. The coolant temperature sensor should be in the back here somewhere. We're going to change that later. I think it's down there. Smell some kind of rodent piss. Squirrel or rat urine. Always nice. And I just got to get the codes. I have to get a record of the codes on my laptop. Go to engine. Fault codes. Copy. So again, number 5, cylinder number 5 is what we were concerned about. Shit, I exited, sorry. Blonde moment. So I copied the codes. I'm going to paste them on my notepad. Measuring block 32 is long-term fuel trim. That's what I wanted to get. And so we have minus 2.4% at idle, minus 4.7% at cruising for bank 1, minus 2.8% at idle for bank 2, minus 5.5% part throttle for bank 2. Now we're going to go clear the codes. So measuring block again, 15 and 16. Measuring blocks, misfires for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to plug in the temp coolant level sensor, otherwise that's going to start beeping at me. And we're going to let it idle. So I'm looking for a misfire count on number 6 now. Still in neutral right now. Just going to rev it a little bit. And put it in drive. If the misfires stay on number 5, I'm going to be thinking spark plug, the one that felt a little bit rough to the touch. If the misfires move to number 6, I'm going with ignition coil. Nothing happening yet. I think it just needs to warm up a little bit still. That short trip around the block didn't really, that heat has already somewhat dissipated. Just trying different gears, different loads here. I might still drive it around the block if it doesn't act up. I'm going to drive it around the block. There's no misfires yet. I'm just gonna drive it around the block now with the ignition coils swapped. Watching measuring block 15 and 16. Before, it was during light load, and as the engine warmed up, I would get a distinctive misfire. Recreate the scenario again, or the driving conditions, stop and go. Because it seemed to be good under higher RPM. Still nice and smooth. misfires at all right now. It's strange. Temperature gauge is going past 90 degrees. I'm not worried about this because, again, the initial position is offset because of the sensor reading incorrectly. We can add coolant temperature. You can see it's 92 degrees, not a problem at all. Still no misfires. So what to do at this point? No more misfires. Spark plug is still in the same location. The only thing that changed was that I moved the ignition coils. And obviously the engine temperature, overall the temperature has changed. Transmission fluid is probably thinner. There's less load on the engine. I could probably try to do a torque brake the engine, you know, stepping on the accelerator pedal while holding the vehicle with the brakes. But I don't like doing that on trans. Oh, there I just saw a misfire right there. There we go. There we go. Higher load. 11, 17, 18. Okay. That's enough confirmation for me. The ignition coil is bad. And I will put number 6 ignition coil back to where it was, just to maintain the repair flow. Nice and hot. Ow. So number 5 is the bad one. Number 6 goes back into the hole. Number 5 gets the new coil. I didn't pull that boot back, so somebody must have been in here before as well. And I think that's why they changed that coil at one point in time. Don't think that number 5 is prone to wearing out more than the others. It's almost lunchtime and all I'm smelling is rodent urine. Oh, very appetizing. Hot, hot, hot. And the fingers in the rear, they just pop into these slots. Easier said than done. All just to get rid of mounting screws. This is worse than if it had screws. And yes, I'm going to plug the sensor back in as well. Coolant level sensor. This brake booster hose is supposed to clip in here. Okay, that's pretty much it. That one's broken.